when I left Exeter as a running back, my senior year I played defensive back too. I had my choice, what position I wanted to play when I'm at the different universities that I was speaking with. And so I decided to go defense, decided to play safety because that's kind of where I was at anyways. DB, corner, kind of like, played all over. But, found after going through that whole year, heading into spring camp, getting ready to come in and compete to start myself, my knee was sore, acting up, whatever. And so I found out that I had to get another surgery because the graft didn't heal the first time. Because being in the States, they rehabbed aggressively and had me up in there rehabbing the day after surgery. And I did everything in my power to listen to everything they were saying and do it to a T. So that was a really big reframe and a pivot again. So I'm like, yo, I did everything to a T. Y'all told me to a T. Got my body back A1 and y'all messed this up, right? And so it was like, that was another piece of like really digging down into the internal piece of like, the ball's in my court and I have to do something about it. The game plan really was just take a semester off, get the surgery here and go back out there and, go back to that level. And having some talks with the coach, he was like, we want y'all here. Like you're still on track to go pro. Like this is the coaching, this is the space you need if that's your focus. If that's not your focus, then it's more of a family decision. And so that kind of narrative, had me kind of questioning some more things because of that trade-off again and the time constraints I was away from home for like 4 years, right? My little brother had just been born and like I'm missing kind of a bunch of those critical pieces and I lived away and went through all those things on a solo mission, right? So it was a lot of experience, but then it was like, ended up coming to SMU, the Selby School of Business, first and foremost, the dean, Pat Bradshaw. She was kind of what drew me in because she has a big commitment on community and entrepreneurship and positive impact. So it was like, boom, going into a place where, all of a sudden, not as Simon Fraser, but I can still play football at a high level, still do what I want, have the opportunity to really focus on the business, and I kind of came back quicker on that surgery than I should have per se, but I ended up playing at East West in the All-Star game. Because they didn't reclass me. So I got what ended up being an early invite to the All-Star game after playing like 1 year at Canadian safety, which was much different than an American safety because the field's way bigger, as you know. Yeah, but like a lot of moving, right? And so that's what I mean, like even at every step, like I'm like, okay, well, the game plan was always be the best, but that keeps looking different and life keeps hitting and you have to keep pivoting. And kind of speaking about it now, I can breeze through it, whatever, but that shit's hard as hell. I mean, I had a game plan and I did everything in my power to control that, control freak, whatever. I made sure that I did where I needed to be and I was and doing the things that needed to be done. And still, stuff doesn't happen the way you want it to happen because that's part of life, right? And so then the game really becomes how quickly can you adjust? How quickly can you bounce back? So for me, that whole experience of the ACL, ingrained the resilience, right? I already had that kind of piece, but I'm like, it's whatever. Something's going to happen, and I'm going to have to actively make a decision to overcome what's going to happen because I'm in a driver's seat. Nobody else can make me walk again. Nobody else can do these things. And so it's like that's kind of what it comes back to. Like whatever it's an injury, like I still was able to play at a higher level after the second time I had to get it done. And not necessarily from all those pieces, right? But it's like you have to keep pivoting, right? I mean, I ended up walking away from football to focus on building the business because the value and the time wasn't matching up. The opportunity cost was picking up in a way that I wasn't cool and comfortable with it staying at.
And that's when it became a family decision.
Right, and then that's where, leaving the Simon Fraser, even playing SMU, where I'm, still playing at, a high level, whatever the case is, considering going pro, but then I'm like, I already have this stuff going on and it's really, my love has become an Achilles heel. And that's not a fun space to be in because I hadn't questioned it too much before. I mean, you grow up loving ball. It's fun. It's enjoyable. Then it can, it can start to pay for school and these other things, right? But like it's a tool. And so it's like, the reality is that in sports, especially once you get out of this Pee Wee stuff and even in the Pee Wee stuff, adults know there's politics and everything, right? And somebody's posture or somebody wants to make money from you or get whatever. So there's a benefit, right? And so the reality is that why I'm saying in terms of the intentional piece is like, Somebody's making money to have you come to their school. Somebody's making money to have you play for them. They're getting paid because of that. And so if they don't value you as a person, if they don't value the squad or whatever the case is, and if you're not tangibly getting something, if you don't walk away a little bit better, not just in football, if you don't walk away with more knowledge, more access, more something, they're winning over you. You're not both winning. And so you end up in a space where, okay, you can spend 2 years at a school and have a great football time, but what else? Like athletes don't, like we get bad branding, you know what I'm saying? Because we're supposed to be jocks or like whatever, right? You have to bust your ass more. You have less time to study. You have less time to do all these other things, and the expectations on you are higher because you have to maintain a certain GPA. You have to maintain going to practice. You have to maintain going to class. Regular students don't have to do any of that thing. And so it's like, if you're in a space where you're just going through these motions because somebody said that, oh, it's good to have you on a team and you feel good being around the boys and like, you know, the game plan was go pro. No, you better be the best, because at the end of whatever that window is and when it closes, you didn't have the same opportunity. Unless it was your focus intentionally, you did not have the same opportunity as anybody else at the university. Right? I've played, you know, in 2 different countries, traveled, you know what I mean, different states, especially living on the West Coast. I haven't seen, you know what I mean, the cities and the towns and gone out and explored and hung out with people and spent all the time in the city. I was training and doing football. You know what I mean? You're traveling on a team with your team, like with the rest of with the coaches, with everybody else. Like you miss out on these experiences. And if you're not intentional with that stuff, what you end up finding out you got out of it is a lot less than what it felt like the whole time.